Close your eyes for just a moment. Picture yourself 5 years from now. What does your life look like? Are you living with financial freedom, waking up without the weight of bills crushing your chest? Or are you stuck in the same place you are today, wondering why nothing ever changes? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The life you're living right now is a direct reflection of the thoughts you've been thinking. Your bank account, your job, your stress levels. They didn't appear by accident. They were created by the invisible programming running inside your mind. Most people spend their entire lives working hard, grinding, sacrificing time with family and friends, yet they never break free. Why? Because they're trying to build wealth with a poor person's mindset. It's like trying to run a race with your shoes tied together. You can try as hard as you want, but you'll never win. The good news? Your brain can be rewired. Your financial future can be rewritten. And it starts right here, right now, in this moment. This isn't just another audiobook filled with empty advice. This is a complete mental transformation. By the end of this journey, you'll understand exactly how millionaires think, how wealth is created in the mind before it ever shows up in the bank, and most importantly, how to reprogram yourself for success. So take a deep breath, let go of the doubts, and let's begin the process of rewiring your brain for wealth. Chapter 1. How Wealth Starts in Your Mind. There's an invisible line that separates the wealthy from everyone else. It's not their background, it's not their education, it's not even luck. It's something far more powerful, something most people never discover in their entire lives. It's the way they think. Imagine two people sitting in the same room, same age, same opportunities. One becomes a millionaire, the other struggles paycheck to paycheck for decades. What's the difference? The answer lies in the 6 inches between their ears. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, your life will harvest struggle. But if you plant seeds of abundance, opportunity, and possibility, wealth begins to sprout naturally. Most people were never taught this. Instead, they inherited their money beliefs from parents who were broke, from teachers who worked for pennies, from a society that glorifies being busy but punishes being rich. These beliefs became their operating system, running quietly in the background, sabotaging every chance at financial freedom. Think about the thoughts that run through your head when you see an expensive car. Do you think, that could be me one day? Or do you think, must be nice to be born rich? That split-second reaction reveals everything about your wealth programming. Here's what wealthy people understand that broke people don't. Money flows toward those who expect it. Not hope for it, not wish for it. Expect it. When you genuinely believe you deserve wealth, your brain starts noticing opportunities that were invisible before. You make different choices. You take different actions. Your entire reality shifts. The wealthy don't see obstacles. They see stepping stones. They don't fear failure. They see it as tuition for success. While others are paralyzed by what could go wrong, millionaires are energized by what could go right. This isn't naive optimism. It's strategic thinking rooted in a mindset of abundance. Your current financial situation is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Nobody is coming to save you. No lottery ticket, no inheritance, no lucky break. The only way out is to change the way you think about money, success, and yourself. The beautiful truth is this: your brain doesn't care whether you're rich or poor. It simply executes the program you've installed. Right now, you might be running poverty software on millionaire hardware, but software can be updated, programming can be rewritten, and that process starts the moment you decide that your old way of thinking no longer serves you. Wealth begins as a decision, a commitment, a refusal to accept limitation as your reality. When you make that decision with absolute certainty, everything changes. Doors open, people appear, resources materialize. Not because the universe suddenly loves you, but because you're finally seeing what was always there. So ask yourself this question. Are you ready to think like someone who has wealth even before the money arrives? Are you ready to abandon the beliefs that keep you small? Because once you cross that mental threshold, there's no going back. Your old life will feel like a prison you didn't even know you were trapped in. This is where transformation begins. Not in your bank account, not in your job, right here, in your mind. Everything else is just a reflection of what happens next. Chapter 2: The Science Behind Wealth Programming and Success Psychology. Your brain is the most sophisticated computer ever created. But here's the problem. Most people are running outdated software from childhood, and they wonder why their financial life keeps crashing. Let's talk about how your brain actually works when it comes to money. Every thought you think creates a neural pathway in your brain. Think of it like a trail through a forest. The first time you walk it, you have to push through branches and step over roots. But if you walk that same path every day for years, it becomes a smooth, easy road. Your money thoughts work the same way. Every time you think, "I can't afford that," or "rich people are greedy," or "money doesn't grow on trees," you're strengthening a neural pathway. You're making that belief deeper, stronger, more automatic. Eventually, it becomes your default programming. This is called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated thoughts and experiences. And here's the exciting part. It works both ways. Just as easily as you programmed yourself for struggle, you can reprogram yourself for wealth. Scientists have studied the brains of successful people using advanced imaging technology. What they discovered is fascinating. Wealthy individuals have stronger neural connections in areas related to long-term planning, delayed gratification, and opportunity recognition. Their brains are literally wired differently. But they weren't born that way. They developed those connections through consistent thinking patterns and deliberate mental training. This means you can develop them too. Your subconscious mind controls about 95% of your daily decisions. It's the autopilot running beneath your awareness. And right now, your subconscious has been programmed with years of conditioning about money, most of it negative. When you were young, your brain was like wet cement. Every message you received about money hardened into your belief system. Your parents fighting about bills, teachers saying you'll never amount to anything, society preaching that money is evil. All of it got absorbed and became your financial blueprint. Now you're an adult, and that blueprint is still running the show. You sabotage opportunities without knowing why. You feel uncomfortable when money comes too easily. You spend windfalls instead of investing them. These aren't character flaws. They're simply your programming executing perfectly. The reticular activating system in your brain acts like a filter. It decides what information gets through to your conscious awareness. If your RAS is programmed to see scarcity, you'll notice every price increase, every bill, every reason why you can't succeed. But if you reprogram it for abundance, you'll start seeing opportunities, connections, and possibilities everywhere. Think about when you bought your car. Suddenly you saw that same model everywhere. The cars were always there. Your brain just started filtering them into your awareness. Wealth works exactly the same way. When you program your mind to see abundance, money opportunities become visible. Your brain also has something called confirmation bias. It loves being right. So if you believe you're bad with money, your brain will find evidence to confirm it. You'll remember every financial mistake and forget every success. You'll interpret neutral events as proof of your limitations. But flip the script, and your brain works for you instead of against you. Program yourself to believe you're destined for wealth, and your brain becomes a heat-seeking missile for financial success. It starts making connections you missed before. It gives you courage to take calculated risks. It quiets the voice of doubt. Mirror neurons play a role too. These are brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else perform it. This is why surrounding yourself with wealthy, successful people literally rewires your brain. Your neurons start mimicking their patterns, their confidence, their decision-making processes. The amygdala, your brain's fear center, also gets involved in financial decisions. For most people, money triggers fear responses. The amygdala screams danger when opportunities arise, when risks appear, when change threatens comfort. This kept our ancestors alive in the wild, but it keeps modern people broke. Wealthy individuals have trained their brains to calm the amygdala during financial decisions. They've conditioned themselves to feel excitement where others feel terror. This isn't recklessness, it's mastery over their neurological responses. Here's the bottom line. Your financial reality is a printout of your mental programming. If you want different results, you need different software. The science is clear. Your brain can change. Your patterns can shift. Your wealth programming can be completely rewritten. And the process starts with understanding that you're not stuck with the brain you have. You're equipped with the brain you've trained. And starting right now, you're going to train it for wealth, abundance, and unstoppable success. Chapter 3. Fix your money mindset. How to repair your financial relationship. Money is not just paper and numbers. It's emotional. It's psychological. And for most people, it's deeply broken. Think about your relationship with money like any other relationship in your life. Some people have healthy, loving partnerships. Others have toxic, dysfunctional ones filled with fear, resentment, and pain. Your relationship with money works the same way. And if it's broken, no amount of hard work will fix your finances. You'll earn more and somehow end up with less. You'll get raises and still feel broke. You'll chase success but never feel satisfied. So how do you know if your money relationship needs repair? Listen to the words you use when you talk about it. Do you say things like, "I'm so bad with money," or "I'll never get ahead," or "money always slips through my fingers"? Those statements aren't facts. They're symptoms of a damaged relationship. Most money trauma begins in childhood. Maybe your parents fought constantly about finances. Maybe you grew up hearing that wanting money made you selfish. Maybe you watched someone you loved work themselves to exhaustion and still lose everything. Those experiences created wounds that still bleed into your adult financial life. Here's what happens when your money mindset is broken. You avoid looking at your bank account because it triggers shame. You make impulsive purchases to feel better, then hate yourself afterward. You reject opportunities because deep down, you don't believe you deserve wealth. You sabotage your own success because poverty feels safer than the unknown territory of abundance. Repairing this relationship starts with awareness. You have to acknowledge the damage before you can heal it. Sit with the uncomfortable truth that your money story is based on lies you've been telling yourself for years. One of the biggest lies is that money is evil or that wealthy people are bad. This belief is poison. It guarantees you'll never accumulate wealth because your subconscious won't let you become something you despise. You have to separate money from morality. Money is a tool. It amplifies who you already are. Good people with money do good things. Bad people with money do bad things. The money itself is neutral. Another common wound is the scarcity belief. The idea that there's not enough to go around, so you have to hoard, compete, and fight for every dollar. This creates a tension that repels money instead of attracting it. Abundance mindset understands that wealth expands. One person's success doesn't diminish yours. There's enough for everyone who's willing to create value. Forgiveness is crucial in healing your money relationship. You need to forgive yourself for past financial mistakes. That bad investment, that credit card debt, that business that failed. Those weren't character flaws, they were lessons. Release the shame and reclaim the wisdom. You also need to forgive the people who taught you poverty thinking. Your parents did the best they could with what they knew. Your teachers were limited by their own programming. Nobody set out to curse you with a broke mindset. They simply passed on what they received. Break the cycle now. Start speaking to money differently. Instead of, "I can't afford it," say, "How can I afford it?" Instead of, "I'm terrible with money," say, "I'm learning to manage money wisely." Your words create your reality. Every sentence is a spell you're casting on your future. Create new associations with money. Connect it to freedom, not stress. Link it to opportunity, not obligation. See it as a game you're mastering, not a burden you're carrying. The more positive emotions you attach to wealth, the easier it flows toward you. Practice gratitude for the money you already have. Even if it's just a few dollars, appreciate it. Thank your money when you spend it. Bless it when you receive it. This might sound strange, but energy follows attention. When you treat money with respect and appreciation, it multiplies. Examine your financial boundaries. Do you lend money to people who never pay you back? Do you let others guilt you into spending beyond your means? Healthy relationships have boundaries. Your money relationship needs them too. It's okay to say no. It's okay to protect your financial energy. Repair also means education. You can't have a healthy relationship with something you don't understand. Learn how money works. Study investing, compounding interest, cash flow, assets versus liabilities. Knowledge removes fear and builds confidence. Finally, understand this. Your money mindset isn't fixed. It's not permanent. Every single day, you have the opportunity to improve your relationship with wealth. Small shifts compound into massive transformations. One better thought leads to one better decision, which leads to one better result. You're not destined to repeat your family's financial patterns. You're not cursed to struggle forever. You're simply operating with old programming that can be updated right now. Your relationship with money is ready to be healed. The question is, are you ready to do the work? Chapter 4. Millionaire Mindset Visualization. Reprogram your brain for success. Close your eyes and imagine you're already wealthy. Not someday, not eventually, right now. What does your morning look like? Where do you wake up? What do you see when you open your eyes? How does financial freedom feel in your body? This isn't daydreaming. This is visualization. And it's one of the most powerful tools millionaires use to create their reality before it physically exists. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize yourself succeeding, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually experiencing that success. You're literally training your nervous system for wealth. Athletes have known this secret for decades. Olympic champions visualize their performances hundreds of times before competition. They see themselves crossing the finish line, standing on the podium, hearing the national anthem. And when race day arrives, their body knows exactly what to do because their brain has already lived it. The same principle applies to wealth. When you consistently visualize yourself as financially successful, your brain starts accepting it as reality. Your subconscious mind begins working to close the gap between your current situation and your visualized future. But here's where most people get visualization wrong. They make it vague. They think loosely about being rich without any specific details. That's like telling your GPS you want to go somewhere nice. It has no idea where to take you. Effective visualization is precise, crystal clear, multisensory. You don't just see yourself wealthy, you feel the texture of success. You hear the sounds of your new reality. You smell the environment. You engage every sense to make it undeniably real in your mind. Let's practice right now. Imagine walking into your dream home. Not just any mansion, your specific dream home. What color is the front door? What does the handle feel like in your hand? As you push it open, what's the first thing you see? Is there music playing softly in the background? What does the air smell like? Fresh flowers, coffee brewing, ocean breeze through open windows? Walk through each room slowly in your mind. Feel the flooring beneath your feet. Run your hand along the furniture. Look out the windows at your view. This is your reality. You already own this. You're just remembering the future. Now visualize checking your bank account. See the actual numbers on the screen. Not just a lot of money, the specific amount. Watch your fingers scroll through your investment portfolio. See the green numbers indicating growth. Feel the calm confidence that comes from knowing you're financially secure. Picture yourself making a major purchase without stress. Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's funding your child's education. Maybe it's a vacation you've always dreamed about. See yourself making the decision easily, joyfully, without a single worry about whether you can afford it. Because you can. This is your life now. Visualization works because your subconscious mind is always seeking consistency. When there's a gap between your mental image and your external reality, your brain experiences tension. It wants to resolve that tension. So it starts nudging you toward actions, decisions, and opportunities that align with your visualized identity. You'll suddenly notice a business opportunity you would have missed before. You'll have the courage to ask for a raise. You'll invest in yourself without guilt. You'll walk away from people and situations that don't match your new frequency. Not because you're forcing it, because your brain is now programmed to seek alignment with your wealthy identity. The timing matters too. Visualize right before sleep, when your subconscious is most receptive. Your brain processes information differently in that drowsy state between waking and sleeping. Thoughts planted there take root deeper and grow faster. Visualize first thing in the morning before the chaos of the day pollutes your mind. Set your mental frequency to abundance before you check your phone, read the news, or absorb anyone else's energy. Start your day as the wealthy person you're becoming. Consistency is everything. 5 minutes of daily visualization is more powerful than an hour once a week. You're conditioning your nervous system, building new neural pathways, teaching your brain to expect wealth as your natural state. But don't just visualize the destination. Visualize the journey too. See yourself handling challenges with grace. Imagine yourself learning new skills. Picture yourself serving others and creating value in the world. Wealth isn't just about receiving. It's about becoming someone capable of creating and managing abundance. Add emotion to your visualization. Don't just see success, feel the gratitude, the pride, the relief, the joy. Emotion is the fuel that powers manifestation. The universe responds to frequency, and emotion is your transmitter. The stronger the feeling, the faster the result. Some people worry that visualization is just fantasy, a way to avoid real work. They're wrong. Visualization doesn't replace action. It directs action. It aligns your subconscious with your goals so that when you work smart instead of hard. You make better decisions. You spot better opportunities. You execute with confidence instead of hesitation. Your imagination is not an escape from reality. It's a blueprint for creating reality. Every building, every invention, every fortune was imagined before it was built. The visionaries who changed the world didn't start with resources. They started with vision. So see yourself wealthy, in vivid detail, with unshakable belief, every single day, and watch as your external world slowly, then suddenly, transforms to match the world you've been building in your mind. Chapter 5. How repetition rewires your brain for wealth and abundance. There's a reason every successful person you've ever heard about preaches consistency. It's not just motivational talk, it's neuroscience. Your brain learns through repetition, period. One positive thought about wealth does nothing. 100 positive thoughts start to create change. 10,000 positive thoughts completely rewire your mental circuitry. Think about learning to drive. The first time you got behind the wheel, everything was overwhelming. You had to consciously think about every tiny movement, check mirrors, apply pressure to the pedal, turn the wheel, signal. So many steps, all demanding your full attention. But after months of repetition, driving became automatic. You can now drive while having a conversation, listening to music, and planning your day. Your brain moved that skill from conscious effort to subconscious programming. Repetition made it effortless. Wealth thinking works exactly the same way. Right now, poverty thinking is your autopilot. You've repeated those thoughts so many times they're automatic. You see a price tag and your brain instantly calculates whether you can afford it. You hear about an opportunity and your default response is doubt. You think about your future and anxiety appears automatically. But with deliberate repetition, you can make wealth thinking just as automatic. You can train your brain to default to abundance instead of scarcity, to opportunity instead of obstacle, to possibility instead of limitation. This is where most people fail. They try affirmations for a few days, see no immediate results, and quit. They don't understand that neural pathways aren't built overnight. They're carved through consistent repetition over time. Imagine you're walking through an empty field. The grass is tall and thick. The first time you walk across, you leave barely a trace. But if you walk the same path every single day for a month, you'll create a clear trail. Walk it for a year, and it becomes a permanent path that's easier to follow than walking anywhere else. That's what happens in your brain. Every time you repeat a thought, you strengthen that neural pathway. Eventually, it becomes the path of least resistance, your default setting, your automatic response. Scientists call this Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together, wire together. When you repeatedly think thoughts of wealth and abundance, the neurons responsible for those thoughts form stronger connections. The pathway becomes more efficient, faster, more automatic. But here's the critical part. You have to repeat the right thoughts, not just any thoughts. If you repeat, "I want to be rich," while feeling desperate and lacking, you're actually reinforcing scarcity. Your brain remembers the emotion more than the words. Instead, repeat thoughts that assume wealth is already yours. Money flows to me easily. I am financially abundant. Opportunities appear everywhere I look. Say these while feeling grateful, confident, and calm. That emotional state is what gets wired into your neural network. The magic number for creating a new habit is often cited as 21 days, but research shows it actually takes longer, somewhere between 66 days and 6 months, depending on the complexity of the behavior. Building a millionaire mindset is complex. It requires patience and unwavering consistency. But here's the good news. Every single repetition counts. Even on days when you don't feel like it, when doubt creeps in, when old patterns try to resurface. Every time you choose the abundant thought over the scarce one, you're voting for your new identity. Eventually, you'll have enough votes to win the election. Morning routines are powerful because they leverage repetition at the start of each day. Successful people don't have morning routines because they're disciplined because they have morning routines. The repetition creates the discipline. Wake up and immediately speak your wealth affirmations out loud. Read your financial goals. Visualize your abundant future. Do this every morning without exception. Within weeks, your brain will start anticipating this routine. It will prepare your mental state for abundance before you even consciously engage. Evening routines work similarly. Before bed, review your wins from the day, even small ones. Found $1 on the street? That's evidence of abundance. Got a compliment? That's evidence you're valuable. Someone bought you coffee? That's evidence the universe provides. Training your brain to hunt for evidence of abundance is critical. Your reticular activating system will find whatever you tell it to look for. If you repeat, "I never have enough," it finds evidence of lack. If you repeat, "Abundance surrounds me," it finds evidence of wealth. Repetition also builds belief. The first time you say, "I am a millionaire," your brain might laugh at you. It knows your bank account. It remembers your struggles. But if you say it every day for 6 months, something shifts. The statement stops feeling like a lie and starts feeling like a future memory. Your brain begins to accept it as inevitable. This is why wealthy people seem so confident. They've repeated empowering beliefs about themselves so many times that those beliefs became unshakable. They don't hope they'll succeed, they know they will, because they've programmed that knowing through relentless repetition. You have to become your own hype person, your own coach, your own believer. Nobody else will repeat your success story as often as you need to hear it. So you repeat it yourself, every day, multiple times a day, until your brain has no choice but to accept it as truth. The path is simple, but not easy. Repeat wealth-building thoughts daily. Repeat abundant emotions daily. Repeat successful actions daily. Do this with the same consistency you brush your teeth. Miss a day of brushing, your teeth suffer. Miss a day of mental programming, your mindset suffers. Your old programming took years to solidify. Your new programming will take time too. But time is passing anyway. 6 months from now, you'll either have a millionaire mindset or you'll still be stuck with poverty programming. The choice is yours. The tool is repetition. The time to start is now. Chapter 6. Step-by-Step Guide to Rewiring Your Brain for Wealth. Knowledge without application is useless. You've learned why your mindset matters, how your brain works, and what needs to change. Now it's time for the exact blueprint to make it happen. This isn't theory anymore. This is your action plan. Follow these steps consistently for 90 days, and you won't recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Step 1. Audit your current programming. Before you can install new software, you need to identify the old code running in the background. For 1 full week, pay attention to every thought you have about money. Don't judge them, just notice them. Write them down if possible. When you check your bank account, what's your immediate internal reaction? When someone mentions a luxury item, what thought crosses your mind? When an opportunity appears, what's your gut feeling? These automatic responses reveal your current programming. Step 2. Identify the source. Where did these beliefs come from? Your parents? A traumatic financial experience? Society's messaging? Understanding the origin doesn't excuse the belief, but it helps you see it's not actually yours. It's borrowed programming. And borrowed things can be returned. Step 3. Create your new identity statement. This is different from a goal. A goal is something you want. An identity statement is who you are. Write it in present tense. I am a person who easily attracts wealth. I am financially intelligent and abundant. I am worthy of unlimited prosperity. Make it personal. Make it powerful. Make it something that excites you when you read it. This statement becomes your new operating system. It's who you're becoming through this process. Step 4. Design your daily reprogramming ritual. This is non-negotiable. Every single morning, within 15 minutes of waking up, you'll perform this sequence. First, read your identity statement out loud 3 times. Say it with conviction, even if you don't believe it yet. Your brain is listening. Second, spend 5 minutes visualizing your wealthy life in vivid detail. Engage all 5 senses. Make it so real you can almost touch it. Third, write down 3 things you're grateful for financially, even if it's just having $1 in your pocket. Gratitude opens the channel for more abundance to flow. Fourth, speak your money affirmations. Create a list of 5 to 10 affirmations that counteract your old programming. If you used to think money is hard to make, your affirmation is, money flows to me effortlessly. If you believed, I'm bad with money, your new affirmation is, I make wise financial decisions easily. Say these affirmations while looking at yourself in the mirror. This might feel awkward at first. Do it anyway. Eye contact with yourself amplifies the power. Your subconscious takes it more seriously when you're looking directly at the person who needs to change. Step 5. Consume wealth-building content daily. Your environment shapes your thinking. If you spend all day consuming news about economic collapse and social media drama, you're feeding your brain poverty programming. Instead, read books by millionaires. Listen to podcasts about financial success. Watch interviews with self-made billionaires. You're not just learning strategies, you're absorbing their energy, their confidence, their way of seeing the world. Your mirror neurons are firing and creating similar patterns in your own brain. This is environmental programming, and it's incredibly powerful. Step 6. Take one wealth-aligned action daily. Mindset work without action is just fantasy. Every single day, do something that a wealthy version of you would do. Maybe you research an investment opportunity. Maybe you learn a high-income skill. Maybe you reach out to someone successful and ask for advice. These actions don't have to be huge. They just have to be consistent. Small, aligned actions compound over time into massive transformation. Each action sends a signal to your brain that you're serious about this identity shift. Step 7. Track your evidence. Keep a daily journal where you write down any evidence of abundance that appeared in your day. Someone offered to buy you lunch? Write it down. You found money? Write it down. You got a discount? Write it down. This trains your reticular activating system to notice abundance instead of lack. Over time, you'll be shocked at how much evidence appears. It was always there. You're just finally seeing it. Step 8. Release resistance through emotional freedom. When old fears, doubts, or limiting beliefs surface, don't suppress them. Acknowledge them. Thank them for trying to keep you safe, then consciously choose your new belief instead. You can use techniques like tapping, journaling, or simply speaking the fear out loud followed by your empowering truth. I notice I'm feeling afraid that I'll fail. I choose to believe I'm capable and destined for success. This conscious pattern interrupt weakens the old programming. Step 9. Surround yourself with abundance. Your physical environment impacts your mental state. If you live in clutter and chaos, your financial life will reflect that. Clean your space. Organize your finances. Even if you're broke, act like someone wealthy. Keep your wallet organized. Dress with intention. Treat your belongings with respect. Step 10. Review and adjust weekly. Every Sunday, review your week. What shifted? Where did you notice progress? Where did old patterns show up? Adjust your approach based on what you discover. This is a living process, not a rigid formula. This 10-step blueprint is your map. But a map doesn't move you forward. You do. You have to walk the path consistently, daily, without excuse. There will be days you don't feel like it. Those are the most important days. Those are the days that separate people who transform from people who just talk about it. 90 days of this protocol will fundamentally alter your relationship with money. Your thoughts will change. Your decisions will improve. Opportunities will appear that weren't visible before, not because the world changed, but because you did. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. 90 days is just the beginning. Rewiring your brain for wealth isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. The most successful people on the planet still do their morning routines, still read, still visualize, still work on their mindset. They understand that maintenance is required. Your brain will try to default back to old programming if you stop feeding it new patterns. This is why lottery winners go broke. They get the money without getting the mindset, and eventually their old programming wins. You're building something different. You're becoming someone who doesn't just receive wealth, but sustains it. grows it, and uses it to create even more abundance. That person is built through daily discipline and unwavering commitment to the process. Some days will feel magical. You'll notice synchronicities. Money will appear unexpectedly. Opportunities will knock on your door. Those days will fuel your belief and keep you motivated. Other days will feel like nothing is happening. You'll wonder if this is actually working. Doubt will whisper that you're wasting your time. Those days test your faith. Those days reveal whether you're truly committed or just casually interested. Push through the doubt. Trust the process. Your brain is rewiring beneath the surface even when you can't see immediate results. Neural pathways are forming. Subconscious patterns are shifting. The foundation is being laid for your financial breakthrough. Remember, you didn't develop your current money mindset overnight. It was built through years of repetition and conditioning. You're now doing the same thing, intentionally, deliberately, in the direction of wealth instead of poverty. Every morning you complete your ritual, you're casting a vote for your new identity. Every book you read, every affirmation you speak, every aligned action you take. These are all votes. Eventually you'll have enough votes to declare victory. Your new programming will become your default setting. This is your step-by-step guide, your map, your blueprint for transformation. Everything you need is right here. The only missing ingredient is your decision, your commitment, your willingness to show up for yourself every single day. The old you stops here. The wealthy you begins now. Follow these steps. Trust the process. And watch as your entire financial reality transforms from the inside out.
Chapter 7. How Fear Blocks Wealth and Financial Growth. Fear is the silent assassin of dreams. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It whispers. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as being realistic, and it keeps more people broke than any economic recession ever could. Let's be brutally honest. You're afraid. Maybe not of everything, but of something. And that fear is costing you money right now in ways you probably don't even realize. Fear of failure keeps you from starting that business. Fear of rejection stops you from asking for a raise. Fear of judgment prevents you from promoting yourself. Fear of loss makes you avoid investing. Fear of success, ironically, makes you sabotage your own progress. These fears live in your nervous system. They're not rational calculations. They're emotional responses hardwired from past experiences, childhood conditioning, and evolutionary programming designed to keep you safe, not successful. Your ancestors needed fear to survive. If they heard a rustling in the bushes, fear made them run. That saved their lives. But in the modern world, fear doesn't save you. It traps you. It keeps you in the bushes, afraid to step into the clearing where opportunity lives. Think about the last time a financial opportunity came your way. Maybe someone invited you to invest in something. Maybe you had an idea for a side business. Maybe you saw a chance to learn a valuable skill. What was your first emotional response? If it was fear disguised as skepticism, you're not alone, but you are stuck. Fear creates a biological response in your body. Your amygdala, the primitive fear center in your brain, triggers a cascade of stress hormones. Cortisol floods your system. Your heart rate increases. Your rational brain shuts down. In this state, you cannot think clearly. You cannot make good decisions. You can only react. And the reaction is always the same. Stay safe, stay small, stay where you are. Don't risk anything, don't change anything, don't become anything more than you already are. Wealthy people feel fear too. The difference is they've learned to act despite it. They've trained their nervous system to interpret fear as excitement instead of danger. When an opportunity triggers that flutter in their chest, They lean in instead of pulling back. This isn't recklessness, it's wisdom. They understand that the fear of missing out on their dreams is more terrifying than the fear of temporary failure. They've done the math. The cost of staying stuck is higher than the cost of taking calculated risks. Let's talk about the specific fears that block wealth. First, the fear of not having enough. This scarcity fear makes you cling to every dollar like it's your last. You can't invest because you might need that money someday. You can't spend on education because it feels like wasting money. You operate from a mindset of protection instead of expansion. But here's the paradox. The tighter you grip money, the faster it slips away. Scarcity creates more scarcity. When you refuse to invest in yourself, in opportunities, in assets that grow, you guarantee your financial stagnation. Your fear of loss creates the very loss you're afraid of. Second, the fear of being judged. What will people think if you charge premium prices for your services? What will your broke friends say when you start driving a nice car? What will your family think when you outgrow your childhood neighborhood? This fear keeps you playing small to keep others comfortable. But understand this, people who judge you for succeeding are people who fear their own potential. Their criticism is a reflection of their limitations, not yours. Your job isn't to shrink so others feel better. Your job is to grow so others see what's possible. Third, the fear of responsibility. Wealth comes with responsibility. More money means more decisions, more visibility, more opportunities to fail publicly. Some part of you knows that staying broke is easier. Nobody expects anything from you. You can blame your circumstances. You can hide in mediocrity. But easy and fulfilling are rarely the same thing. The weight of unrealized potential is heavier than the responsibility of success. Dying with your dreams still inside you because you were too afraid to try is the real tragedy. Fourth, the fear of losing yourself. You've seen wealthy people who seem cold, disconnected, obsessed with money. You don't want to become that. So subconsciously, you avoid wealth to avoid becoming someone you don't respect. This is perhaps the most insidious fear because it seems noble. But wealth doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. If you're kind and generous now, you'll be kind and generous with money. If you're selfish now, money will amplify that. The key is becoming the person you want to be before the money arrives, so when it does, you handle it with integrity. The way to overcome these fears isn't to eliminate them, it's to build courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. Every time you take a financial risk that scares you and survive, you teach your nervous system that fear is a liar. Start small. Do something today that your fear tells you not to do. Apply for that better job. Raise your prices slightly. Invest a small amount you can afford to lose. Each small act of courage weakens fear's grip and strengthens your confidence. Reframe fear as information, not instruction. When fear shows up, don't obey it. Examine it. What is it trying to protect you from? Is the threat real or imagined? Most of the time, you'll discover the fear is based on a story, not reality. Also, understand that inaction has consequences too. You fear losing money if you invest, but you're losing money every day to inflation if you don't. You fear looking foolish if your business fails, but you're guaranteed to feel regret if you never try. Fear calculates only one side of the equation. You need to see both. Surround yourself with people who faced their fears and won. Their courage is contagious. Their stories become evidence that your fears are conquerable. When you see someone who was once where you are now, living where you want to be, the path becomes less frightening. Finally, make friends with fear. Thank it for trying to keep you safe. Acknowledge its presence, then politely tell it to step aside. You have wealth to build, dreams to pursue, and a life to create. Fear can come along for the ride, but it's not driving anymore. You are.
Chapter 8. Self-Image and Income, the Hidden Limit on Your Wealth. There's an invisible thermostat in your mind that controls how much money you're allowed to make. It's called your self-image. And right now, it's probably set far lower than your potential. Your income will rarely exceed your self-image for long. You can hustle. You can grind. You can work 80 hours a week. But if deep down you don't see yourself as a wealthy person, you'll find a way to sabotage every dollar that exceeds your internal set point. This is why lottery winners go broke, why people who get sudden windfalls spend it all, why employees who get big raises somehow end up just as broke as before. Their external circumstances changed, but their self-image didn't. And the mind always finds a way to restore alignment. Think about your self-image as the picture you hold of yourself in your mind's eye, not who you want to be, not who you pretend to be, who you actually believe you are at your core. That image controls everything: your confidence, your decisions, your income potential. Most people have a self-image built during childhood, shaped by parents, teachers, and early experiences. If you were told you weren't smart enough, that image stuck. If you grew up watching your parents struggle, you internalized an image of yourself as someone who struggles. If success was celebrated in your family, you built an image of yourself as someone who wins. These images are stubborn. They operate below conscious awareness, quietly steering your life from the shadows. You set goals that align with this image and unconsciously sabotage goals that don't. This is how it shows up in your financial life. You price your services based on what you think you're worth, not what the market will pay. You negotiate weekly for salaries because you don't truly believe you deserve more. You settle for less in business deals because asking for what you want feels uncomfortable, almost fraudulent. You also spend in ways that match your self-image. If you see yourself as a person who barely gets by, you'll spend money on temporary relief, instant gratification, things that keep you comfortable in your current identity. But if you see yourself as an investor, as a builder, as someone on a trajectory toward wealth, you'll spend differently. You'll delay gratification. You'll invest in assets. You'll make choices that compound. The gap between your current income and your desired income is usually a gap in self-image. You want to make 6 figures, but you still see yourself as a 5-figure person. The universe isn't withholding money from you. You're withholding permission from yourself. So, how do you upgrade your self-image? First, you have to notice it. Start paying attention to how you introduce yourself. What words do you use? What tone? Are you apologetic about what you do? Do you minimize your accomplishments? Do you deflect compliments? These are all signs of a limited self-image. Listen to your internal dialogue. When you look in the mirror, what do you think? When you make a mistake, how do you talk to yourself? If you're harsh, critical, and cruel, you're reinforcing a negative self-image. And a person with a negative self-image cannot sustain wealth. Second, create a new self-image intentionally. Close your eyes and imagine the wealthiest version of yourself, not in terms of money alone, but in terms of character. How does that person walk into a room? How do they speak? How do they handle challenges? What do they believe about themselves? Now, here's the key. Start acting like that person today. Not when you have the money, not when you reach the goal. Today. You dress like someone who values themselves. You speak with the confidence of someone who knows their worth. You carry yourself with the posture of someone who expects respect. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is aligning your external behavior with your internal potential. You're not pretending to be someone else. You're stepping into who you actually are beneath the layers of limiting programming. Third, change your peer group. You cannot maintain a wealthy self-image while surrounding yourself with people who see you as broke. Their perception reinforces your old identity. They treat you based on who you were, not who you're becoming. And their treatment shapes how you see yourself. Find people who already embody the self-image you're building. Join communities of entrepreneurs, investors, high achievers. Not to compare yourself, but to normalize success. When everyone around you is building wealth, your brain stops seeing it as special and starts seeing it as standard. Collect evidence of your new identity. Every time you make a good financial decision, acknowledge it. Every time you resist an impulse purchase, celebrate it. Every time you invest in yourself, recognize it as proof that you're becoming someone different. Your brain needs evidence to update its self-image. You can't just tell yourself you're wealthy. You have to prove it through aligned actions. Each piece of evidence strengthens the new image until it becomes your default. Fifth, forgive your past self. If you've made financial mistakes, if you've been broke, if you've failed, release the shame. That was a previous version of you operating with limited programming. You're not that person anymore. Holding on to old identity keeps you stuck in old results. Your self-image is also influenced by the standards you set. If you tolerate mediocrity, you'll see yourself as mediocre. If you demand excellence from yourself, you'll see yourself as excellent. Raise your standards in every area. How you keep your home, how you maintain your health, how you honor your commitments. Excellence in one area elevates your entire self-image. Understand that wealthy people don't have better circumstances, they have a better self-image. They genuinely believe they deserve abundance. They don't question whether they're worthy of success. They assume it. And that assumption creates a confidence that attracts opportunity. You're not asking permission to be wealthy. You're claiming your right to abundance. But you can only claim what you believe you deserve. And you can only believe you deserve it when your self-image matches the reality you want to create. So, look in the mirror. See yourself differently, not as someone who wants wealth, but as someone who is wealth. Not as someone trying to become successful, but as someone who already embodies success. That shift in self-image is worth more than any strategy, any tactic, any hustle. Because when your self-image changes, everything changes. Your income rises to meet your new identity, and it stays there permanently because you finally see yourself as someone who belongs in that financial reality.
Chapter 9. How Millionaires Think. Wealth Habits and Decision Patterns. Millionaires aren't lucky. They're not smarter. They don't have secret advantages unavailable to you. What they have is different thinking patterns, habits, and decision-making processes that compound into extraordinary results. If you want wealth, you don't just need to work differently. You need to think differently. And thinking differently starts with understanding exactly how wealthy people process information and make choices. First, millionaires think in decades, not days. Most people plan their finances week to week, month to month. They're stuck in survival mode, trying to make it to the next paycheck. Wealthy people think 10, 20, 30 years ahead. Every decision is filtered through the question, where will this choice put me in 10 years? This long-term perspective changes
everything. It makes them patient with investments, comfortable with delayed gratification, willing to sacrifice today for exponential returns tomorrow. They plant seeds knowing they might not see the harvest for years, but they plant anyway because they trust the process. Second, millionaires think in assets, not income. Poor people ask, how much will I make? Wealthy people ask, what will I own? They understand that income is temporary. You trade time for money, and when the time stops, the money stops. But assets generate income permanently. They buy real estate that pays rent. They build businesses that run without them. They invest in stocks that pay dividends. They create intellectual property that earns royalties. Every dollar they earn is immediately deployed into something that produces more dollars. This is how wealth compounds. Third, millionaires think in leverage. They're obsessed with multiplication. How can one effort create 10 results? How can $1 become $10? They refuse to trade time for money on a one-to-one basis. Instead, they find ways to make their time, money, and energy work exponentially. They hire people to multiply their output. They use technology to scale their reach. They invest in systems that work while they sleep. Leverage is the difference between working hard and working smart. Poor people work hard. Rich people work smart. Fourth, millionaires think in problem solved, not effort expended. Society teaches us that hard work equals success. But wealthy people know that's a lie. The market doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for value created. You can work incredibly hard, digging holes and filling them back in. You won't get rich, but solve a meaningful problem for enough people, and wealth flows naturally. This is why they focus on serving, not selling. They ask, what problem can I solve that people will pay me to fix? The bigger the problem, the wealthier they become. Their bank account is a receipt for the value they've delivered to the world. Fifth, millionaires think in calculated risks, not safety. Most people avoid risk at all costs. They stay in jobs they hate because it's secure. They avoid investing because they might lose money. They play it safe and wonder why their life never changes. Millionaires understand that the biggest risk is taking no risks. They don't gamble recklessly. They calculate, they research, they prepare, then they move. They know that fortune favors the bold, but only when boldness is backed by intelligence. Every successful person you admire took risks that terrified them. The difference is, they did it anyway. Sixth, millionaires think in continuous learning. They read voraciously. They invest in courses, mentors, and education. They understand that their earning power is directly tied to their learning power. The more they know, the more they grow. They never stop upgrading their skills, their knowledge, their mental models. Poor people think education ends with school. Wealthy people know education is lifelong. They're constantly asking, what don't I know that's costing me money? Then they go learn it. This hunger for knowledge creates a compounding advantage that separates them from everyone else. Seventh, millionaires think in networks, not isolation. They understand that your network is your net worth. They intentionally build relationships with other successful people, not to use them, but to learn from them, collaborate with them, and rise together. They know that one conversation with the right person can change their entire trajectory. So they invest in relationships. They show up at events. They add value first. They play the long game with people, knowing that today's connection might become tomorrow's business partner. Eighth, millionaires think in abundance, not scarcity. They believe there's enough for everyone. One person's success doesn't diminish theirs. This mindset makes them generous, collaborative, and open to opportunities. Scarcity thinking makes you competitive, stingy, and blind to abundance around you. When millionaires see someone succeed, they think, if they can do it, So can I. When broke people see someone succeed, they think they took my chance. One mindset creates more wealth. The other creates resentment and stagnation. Ninth, millionaires think in speed of implementation. They don't overthink. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They take imperfect action immediately. They understand that execution beats perfection every time. While others are planning, researching, and preparing, millionaires are doing, learning, and adjusting. They're comfortable with failure because they see it as data, not defeat. Each failure teaches them what doesn't work, bringing them closer to what does. Speed plus iteration equals innovation, and innovation equals wealth. 10th, millionaires think in legacy, not just lifestyle. They're building something bigger than themselves. They want to create generational wealth, impact that outlives them, contribution that matters. This purpose-driven thinking gives them resilience when challenges arise and discipline when distractions tempt them. These thinking patterns aren't genetic. They're learned. And if they can be learned, you can learn them. Starting today, you can adopt these mental models. Think long-term. Focus on assets. Embrace leverage. Solve problems. Take calculated risks. Never stop learning. Build your network. Operate from abundance. Move fast. Think legacy. Do this consistently, and within months, your decisions will change. Within a year, your results will change. Within a decade, your entire life will be unrecognizable because you'll be thinking like a millionaire. And people who think like millionaires eventually become millionaires. It's only a matter of time.
Chapter 10. Why daily discipline is the key to wealth and long-term success. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you wealthy. Everyone wants the result, the bank account, the freedom, the lifestyle. But very few people want the process, the daily grind, the repetition, the discipline required to turn dreams into reality. And that's exactly why most people stay broke. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. It's the invisible force that separates the successful from the struggling. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it's everything. Think about every wealthy person you know or admire. Beneath the surface of their success is a foundation of daily discipline. They wake up early. They work when others sleep. They invest when others spend. They learn when others are entertained. Day after day after day. Not because they're superhuman, because they're committed. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Right now, your discipline muscle might be weak. You start strong on Monday and quit by Wednesday. You set goals in January and forget them by February. You make promises to yourself and break them repeatedly. Each broken promise weakens your self-trust and your discipline. But here's the good news. You can rebuild it, starting today. Starting with one small commitment that you refuse to break. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes every morning. Maybe it's writing down your financial goals before bed. Maybe it's speaking your affirmations out loud daily. Pick one. Commit fully. Do it without exception. When you honor that one commitment for 30 days, something powerful happens. You prove to yourself that you're capable of discipline. That proof builds confidence. That confidence makes the next commitment easier. And slowly, your entire life transforms through the compound effect of small daily disciplines. Wealthy people understand something most don't. Your daily habits are your future reality in slow motion. What you do today, you'll experience tomorrow. Not immediately, not obviously, but inevitably. Eat poorly today, you'll be unhealthy tomorrow. Spend recklessly today, you'll be broke tomorrow. But invest wisely today,
you'll be wealthy tomorrow. The problem is the gap, the delay between action and result. This gap kills most people's discipline. They work hard for a week and see no change. They save money for a month and still feel broke. They give up, concluding that discipline doesn't work. But they quit right before the compound effect kicks in. Imagine you're pushing a giant boulder. At first, it doesn't budge. You push harder. Still nothing. You push with everything you have. It barely moves an inch. Most people quit here, exhausted and discouraged. But if you keep pushing, something incredible happens. The boulder starts rolling, slowly at first, then faster, then it builds momentum. Eventually, it's rolling so fast, you're just guiding it, not pushing it. That's discipline. The early days are brutal. You're pushing with maximum effort for minimal results. But if you keep going, momentum builds. Your habits become automatic. Your income starts rising. Your investments start compounding. And suddenly, success feels effortless because discipline created momentum. Daily discipline also protects you from yourself. Your worst enemy isn't the economy, your boss, or your circumstances. It's you, your impulses, your emotions, your desire for instant gratification. Without discipline, you'll sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. You could have the most beautiful vision, the most powerful affirmations, the most detailed plan, but without discipline to execute daily, it's all just fantasy. Dreams don't build wealth. Daily disciplined action builds wealth. Here's how to cultivate discipline specifically for financial success. First, create non-negotiable money habits. Decide that every dollar you earn, you'll save or invest at least 10% before you spend a penny. Non-negotiable. Not when you feel like it, not when you have extra, always. Automate it if possible so discipline isn't required. But if you can't automate, you do it manually every single time. Second, track everything. What gets measured gets improved. Discipline requires awareness. Track your income. Track your expenses. Track your net worth monthly. When you have to write down every dollar you waste, you'll waste fewer dollars. The act of tracking creates accountability, and accountability strengthens discipline. Third, establish morning rituals that set your mental state for success. Wealthy people don't start their day scrolling social media or checking emails. They start with intention, meditation, visualization, reading, exercise. These rituals prime their mind for disciplined decision-making throughout the day. Fourth, create consequences for breaking discipline. Make a deal with yourself. If you skip your morning routine, you donate $50 to a cause you hate. If you make an impulse purchase, you have to tell your accountability partner. Consequences make discipline easier because your brain weighs the cost of breaking your commitment. Fifth, surround yourself with disciplined people. Discipline is contagious, so is laziness. If everyone around you sleeps in, eats junk food, and wastes money, you'll default to those behaviors. But if your friends wake up at 5 a.m., work on side businesses, and invest aggressively, you'll match their energy. Sixth, celebrate small wins. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about progress. Every day you honor your commitments, acknowledge it. Every week you stick to your financial plan, celebrate it. These celebrations reinforce the behavior and make discipline feel rewarding instead of restrictive. Understand that discipline is temporary discomfort for permanent freedom. Right now, lack of discipline feels easy. You do what you want when you want. But that ease creates long-term suffering. You'll be broke, stuck, and regretful for decades. Discipline feels hard today, but creates ease tomorrow. You do the work now so you can live freely later. The math is simple. 1 hour of disciplined learning every day equals 365 hours a year. That's enough to master nearly any skill. $100 saved and invested monthly, compounded over 30 years, becomes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Small, disciplined actions repeated daily create extraordinary results. But you have to stay disciplined long enough for the magic to happen, long enough for momentum to build, long enough for compound interest to work, long enough to become the person capable of sustaining the wealth you're creating. There will be days you fail, days you break your commitment, days you feel like giving up. That's human. But discipline isn't perfection. It's persistence. It's getting back up. It's starting again. Every single day is a new opportunity to choose discipline over distraction, commitment over comfort, growth over stagnation. The wealthy aren't more talented, they're more disciplined. They do the boring work consistently while others chase shortcuts and quick fixes. And that boring work compounds into extraordinary lives, lives of freedom, impact, abundance, security. You're not lacking opportunity. You're not lacking potential. You're lacking discipline. The moment you embrace daily discipline as your superpower, everything changes. Your income changes, your habits change, your future changes. So make the decision right now. Today is the day your discipline begins. Today is the day you stop making excuses and start making progress. Today is the day you become the person who does what needs to be done no matter what. Because on the other side of discipline is everything you've ever wanted. Your dream life is built one disciplined day at a time, and your first day starts now.